I never thought the summer after high school would be the one I'd spend unraveling, buried inside a secret I still haven't forgiven myself for. A secret that wore lipstick and gardenias and made me feel like I was sleepwalking through a dream too warm to escape. Tyler was my best friend since 5th grade. Tall, funny, a little reckless in ways that made him magnetic to everyone but especially to girls who liked broken boys with loud laughter and empty promises. He had this huge suburban house in the north end of town with a long stretch of glass windows and a pool no one used, and a mother named Evelyn who looked like she belonged in an entirely different life than the one she pretended to live. Always dressed like she had somewhere important to be, silk blouses in the kitchen, perfume that lingered on doorknobs and seatbelts, lips that never fully smiled. I don't remember the first time I noticed her, not in the casual way friends notice their friends' parents, but in that slow and sickening awareness that comes from hunger you don't want to name. Maybe it was the way she talked to me like I wasn't 17, like I wasn't Tyler's tag-along sidekick. Or maybe it was the loneliness in her voice when she offered me lemonade and sat too close, her wedding ring absent, her eyes always watching the yard like something had been buried there. It began with small things, lingering glances, the way her fingers brushed my wrist when she handed me a drink, the time she laughed too long at a joke I told and touched my knee without realizing, or maybe realizing exactly what she was doing. Tyler never noticed. He was too busy chasing girls and getting high behind the shed with kids who couldn't spell consequence. And I was always there, a shadow orbiting his self-destruction, loyal in the way you are when you don't have many people left. The night it happened, the heat was unbearable, and Tyler had passed out early after a bottle of something strong and stupid. I went inside for water, found her in the kitchen in a silk robe, barefoot, her hair loose. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked, and I lied, said I was just thirsty, but she didn't buy it. She never bought anything I said unless it was something that hinted at shame or desire. I don't know who kissed whom first. I just remember the sound of the fridge humming, her mouth tasting like wine and sleep, her fingers pulling me toward the darkened hallway where the house creaked like it had its own opinion. We didn't make it to the bedroom. The living room couch became our confessional, and when it was over we didn't speak. I got up, ashamed and dizzy, but she held my wrist and whispered, "Come back tomorrow." And I did. Again and again. Each time pretending it would be the last, each time more addicted to the quiet power she held over me, the way she made me feel seen and wanted and dangerous, like I was more than just a kid in someone else's house. Tyler kept spiraling. DUIs, fights, a girl who claimed she was pregnant and then vanished. I tried to be there for him, but every time I looked him in the eye, all I could see was her. She became my obsession. I wrote her name in the fog of my bathroom mirror, imagined our lives in alternate timelines, wondered what would happen if we were found out, if Tyler ever saw the truth. But she was always careful, texting me from burner numbers, giving me orders with her eyes, treating me like a grown man behind closed doors and like her son's friend in the daylight. I didn't know if I hated her or worshipped her or both. One day we drove to a motel an hour out of town. She wore sunglasses and a scarf like an old movie star and told me to call her by her first name. "Evelyn," I whispered in the dark, and she smiled like it hurt her. "You'll leave for college soon," she said after, cigarette smoke curling around her fingers. "This ends then." But I knew neither of us believed that. When I moved into my dorm in September, she sent me a letter. No return address, just her scent on the paper and one line, "I think about you at 3:17 a.m. I memorized that time, set my alarm to wake then just to feel close to her. Tyler dropped out by winter. Said college was for people who weren't already tired. He came to visit me once, crashed on my couch, told me about a girl who broke his heart and the bar fights that didn't. I couldn't look him in the eye, not fully, because by then I had crossed a line so many times it was no longer a line, just a void. Evelyn would call sometimes just to hear me breathe, and when I came home for holidays she'd find ways to corner me. A bathroom at a family dinner, the backseat of her car while Tyler was inside buying cigarettes. It was madness, but it was the only thing that made me feel real. Until the day it fell apart. Tyler found my phone. I'd been careless, left it unlocked. The messages weren't even explicit, just a string of meetups, a timestamp here, a yours, there. I'll never forget his face. He didn't yell, didn't cry, just looked at me like I was already dead. He walked out. Drove off. I didn't hear from him for months. Evelyn called once after that. "He knows," I said. She went silent. Then she whispered, "He won't tell anyone. He's too proud. But you and I, we're done." And that was it. No goodbye, no closure, just the sound of her hanging up and a silence that followed me for years. It's been 5 years now. Tyler moved to another city. He never returned my messages. I heard from a friend that Evelyn sold the house and moved somewhere coastal. I still see her sometimes, in strangers' faces, in dreams where she's still wearing that robe, still looking at me like I was something she wanted to destroy slowly. I try not to think about her, but I do. Especially at 3:17 a.m., when the world is quiet and the weight of what we did presses down like heat. She was my best friend's mother. He was my brother in every way but blood. And I was the secret between them, ugly, hungry, unforgivable. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had just walked away that first night, if I'd said thank you for the lemonade and gone back outside, let the heat and the silence wrap around me instead of her arms. But that's not what I did. I let it begin, and once it began, I let it grow like mold behind wallpaper, invisible until it poisons everything. College ended, jobs came and went, relationships passed like seasons, but nothing stayed, not really. I'd sit across from women who laughed at my jokes, touched my hand, asked about my family, and all I could think of was Evelyn. How she never laughed, only smirked, how her hand didn't tremble when she slid it down my chest, how she never asked questions she didn't already know the answers to. I tried therapy once, told the truth in pieces. I betrayed someone. I crossed a line. I lost my anchor. The therapist asked what I wanted: to be forgiven, to forget, to make peace with it. And I didn't have an answer, because there's no peace in a story like mine. Only silence. Only shadows. Sometimes I drive past old neighborhoods that look like hers. Wide lawns, ceramic angels, wind chimes trembling in the breeze. And I feel like I'm floating just outside my own skin, like I never really left, like a part of me is still 17 and waiting for her in the back hallway, heart pounding, mouth dry. I see Tyler in my dreams. Not like he was, but how he might be now. Older, heavier, maybe a beard, maybe not. In the dreams, we're walking beside each other like old times, and he suddenly stops and says, "Why?" That's it. Just that one word. And I can't answer, not because I don't know, but because I know too well. It was the way she looked at me, like I wasn't invisible. It was everything I wanted to be and everything I should have resisted. And underneath it all, it was love. Not the soft, safe kind, but the burning kind. The kind that devours before it ever nurtures. People romanticize forbidden love like it's noble, like it's tragic in a beautiful way. But they don't talk about the aftermath, the damage, the way it changes how you look at yourself in the mirror. I used to be someone, a good friend. Now I'm just the guy who did that thing. The guy who let lust feel like destiny. The guy who took what never belonged to him. I don't know if Evelyn ever thinks of me. I doubt she does. She was always ahead of the game, always composed. I imagine she moved on easily, found someone closer to her age, someone who didn't come with betrayal stamped into every kiss. But sometimes, when the wind shifts, when the smell of perfume drifts from a passing stranger, I wonder if she's out there, remembering me not as a mistake, but as a secret she still keeps locked in some drawer alongside old letters and broken jewelry. I wonder if, at 3:17 a.m., she wakes and stares at the ceiling and feels that same hollow throb in her chest. Probably not. But I do. I feel it every night. Because no matter how far I go, no matter how much time passes, I will always carry that summer inside me. I will always carry the weight of what I was to both of them. Best friend. Lover. A ghost caught between. And sometimes, in the silence of my own apartment, I swear I hear Evelyn's voice again, soft and firm, calling me by my name like it still means something. And for a moment I close my eyes and let myself believe she's still out there, still waiting, still willing to open that door and make it all start again. But when I open my eyes, it's just me. Just me in the dark. Just me and the memory of a woman who kissed me like a secret and loved me like a sin.